Hi boys and girls, it's Miss Reynolds with B.O.R.E.D, Better Off Reading Every Day. Today's book is The Cloud Spinner, and this book is by Michael Catchpole and it's illustrated by Allison J. The Cloud Spinner. There was once a boy who could weave cloth from the clouds. He had a spinning wheel and a loom on top of a hill. As the clouds passed, with a whirl of the wheel, he would spin them into thread. Gold in the morning with the rising sun, white in the afternoon, and crimson in the evening, just as his mother had taught him. Then, with a clickety-clack of his loom, he would weave the thread into cloth. As he worked, he sang a simple tune his mother had taught him. Enough is enough, and not one stitch more. The boy was wise. He spun just enough thread and wove just enough cloth to make 2 scarves. One of pure white he wore over his head when it was hot, to protect him from the sun. The other he wore when it was cold. It was a twist and a twirl of gold and white and crimson, soft as a mouse's touch and warm as roasted chestnuts. His mother had taught him well. One chilly market day, the boy walked down the hill, a basket in his hand and his scarf around his neck. The market was full of great excitement. The king was on his way. Soon the king rode grandly by, hardly noticing the curtsies and the cheers. But what his greedy eyes did notice was the wonderful scarf of gold and white and crimson. Tell me, boy, where can I get a scarf of such fine cloth? Nowhere on earth, the boy replied. Then how did you get yours? Snapped the king. I made it, said the boy. Then you will make another for me. A longer one? Much longer, for I am king. But the boy said, it would not be wise to have a long scarf made from this cloth. Your Majesty does not need it. How dare you tell me what is wise? Shouted the king. I order you to make me my scarf. So the boy went home to the top of the hill and with a whirl of the wheel began to spin. He spun the clouds as they passed in the morning and were gold with the rising sun. He spun in the afternoon as the clouds sailed past, white as snowdrifts. He spun in the evening when the clouds were crimson. Then with a clickety-clack of the loom, he wove the thread into a long, long scarf. The king was overjoyed. His scarf was so soft and as a mouse's touch, and was warm as roasted chestnuts. Now make me a cloak of this glorious cloth, he ordered, and a dress galore for the queen and my daughter the princesses. But the boy shook his head. It would not be wise to have so many clothes made out of this cloth. Your Majesty does not need them. The king's face was twist of squirrels. I want those clothes, and I order you to make them. So the boy went home to the top of the hill, and with a whirl of his wheel began to spin. He spun the clouds as they passed in the morning and were gold in the rising sun. He spun the afternoon as the clouds sailed past, white as snowdrifts. He spun in the evening when the clouds were crimson. He spun, and it got harder and harder, for soon there were fewer and fewer clouds. At last, with a clickety-clack of the loom, the boy began to weave the thread into cloth beneath a clouded sky. And as he worked, he sadly sang, "Enough is enough, and not one stitch more." The king was delighted. He put on a wonderful cloak, and the queen and the princess each put on beautiful flowing dresses. "Surely," he boasted, "there is no other king as magnificent and wise as me." "Not one," said the queen. The princess said nothing. But day after day, as they wore their marvelous clothes, not one drop of rain fell from the cloudless sky. "Your Majesty," pleaded the villagers, "our animals are thirsty and our crops are all dying." "There's nothing I can do," shouted the king, walking this way and that, his cloak trailing behind him. "Why are you moaning to me?" The princess said nothing. But that evening she quietly slipped out of the palace. She wore a simple dress, and in her arms was a bundle, soft as a mouse's touch and warm as roasted chestnuts. She crossed the dry, dusty gardens and brown fields beyond and climbed to the top of the hill. Stepping forward, she knocked at the boy's door. "Is it too late to undo what has been done?" The boy smiled and said simply, "There is still time." When the king awoke the next morning, he could not find his wonderful cloak. The queen could not find her beautiful dresses. They searched the palace for the clothes that the boy had made, but they were gone. While outside the villagers danced for joy as the rain began to fall from the clouds in the sky. It rained and rained and rained. The king and queen looked out and wondered. And the princess, with a smile as bright as a rainbow, stood on top of the hill and sang, "Enough is enough, and not one stitch more." The end, boys and girls. Boys and girls, I chose this book, The Cloud Spinner, because, of course, I have my shirt here. In case of stress, break the glass. I don't know if you remember that these were very, very popular a couple of years ago. Fidget spinners. Kids had them by the dozens, and they would put them on their fingers and they would go like this. I don't know if you remember fidget spinners. Do you remember them? Well, this was mine. It lights up, but only 2 of the light up parts work right now. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to show this to you. And I figure, fidget spinner, cloud spinner, how could you go wrong? Also, the reason why I chose this book is because it is absolutely stunning, the illustrations in this book. I don't know if you realized it. Look at this one. There is still time. Look at that. Is that not gorgeous? Is that not what we go outside and look for at sunset and sunrise? Absolutely beautiful. And then, look at this one. Good Lord. Is that not beautiful? Boys and girls, sometimes when I choose these books, I choose them for what they teach you. Yes, I choose them for the greatest gift of all, which I give you every day, is love. And I choose them because they're also very funny. Like, I don't know if you realize, like when I was telling the story, the king practically threw a temper tantrum because he had to have his way. And you know how I feel about temper tantrums. Not cute. Not cute at all, especially for a grown man. He's not even a kid like you. So, I hope you understand the moral of the story is he won what he wanted and he got what he wanted, and then the rain stopped. And they needed rain for their crops and for their animals. So the daughter, who never said a word, actually stepped up, and she did say something. And when she did, she let it rain. She let it rain. So, the moral of the story is sometimes when you get what you want, it's not necessarily a good thing. And also for the daughter, she did speak up. So sometimes you have to speak up for some things to change or to make things right. So it is Miss Reynolds with B.O.R.E.D, Better Off Reading Every Day. And I'm going to have to get up here and show you this fidget spinner up close so you can see it. Pictures do great, yes, because you see a picture and you're like, that's a great picture. But there's nothing like seeing it in motion. Do you agree with me? Of course you do. All right, so let's do this. All right, let's see if we could do it. Ready? Ooh, there it goes. Ooh, boy. Ooh, get closer. See? You see it lighten up? You see that? Is that not fun? Oh, God, these things used to bring me such joy. Boys and girls, you know I'm just a big child, right? You get that. Make it spin, make it spin. In case of emergency, break the glass. It's Miss Reynolds with B.O.R.E.D. And baby cakes, I'm gonna see you soon. Keep spinning, okay? Keep spinning. Keep spinning. Bye.